It's working.
Testing.
Hi, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
We just got out of watching Endgame.
Endgame.
Whoa, yeah, fuck. I have so much to get off my chest.
So freaking much.
And
It's
okay, so just a real quick
overwhelming.
thing. This episode is going to be a spoiler-free one. We're just going to talk about our overall thoughts, but we're going to make a spoiler one.
Yeah, so feel free to listen with ease of mind.
Yeah, so this one, and even if we do somehow slip up, I'll edit it out or I'll bleep it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how
You just went. No fucking mercy.
I'll bleep it out. Don't worry.
Oh my god.
That was just a joke for us, but I'm gonna bleep it out. I hope. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm gonna have some angry people.
Oh my god.
But anyway, no spoilers for this one. Besides that joke,
yeah, so everybody just relax, enjoy your coffee.
I loved it.
I really loved it too.
I loved this movie. It was the 3 hours went by like nothing. It did not feel like 3 hours.
To me, it felt. To me, it did, but it was like it felt right.
It was a good 3 hours.
Yeah, it felt like if they actually made this 2.5 or even 2 hours and 15 minutes, then I would have been like, there could have been more. To
Yeah,
this.
if it had been a standard 2 hour, 2.5 or 2:15, like 2 hour, it would not have been enough.
Of course, and the way how it paced it, then the way how they had to basically align everything to the final conclusion, it's like it had to happen in order to basically set up the entire plot.
So if you're kind of like on the fence about it, I don't know why you would be, but you know, it is a Marvel film, like standard Marvel quality of like graphics and effects. It's like, well, the theater that we saw it at, it was just standard. So
Yeah,
maybe in full IMAX theater, it looks even better.
I thought I got the best tickets, but I was like $12 per ticket. And I was
It's fine. I just wanted to see the
like,
movie.
it was good. I mean, yeah. Now that we saw it and we know what to expect, I'm definitely gonna see this again.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely
And
gonna.
I'm gonna buy the best ticket.
I'm gonna go to
yeah.
Dolby IMAX. I'm gonna watch this movie several times.
Oh yeah, the visuals of this film, I highly recommend. Anybody who hasn't seen it, I highly suggest that it's worth your money to pay an extra amount to go see this at the biggest screen you could possibly see it.
When I was at work, I did hear a customer, like, they were talking about it,
Yeah.
and they described it as a love letter to Marvel, and watching it, I was like, wow, yeah, that's definitely what it is. Like, if you think about it, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
a good way of putting it.
Yeah, even watching it, like, in the middle of all what was going on, I was like, fuck, this is the end. Like, this is the final movie. Like, this is what the buildup has been.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's standard Marvel film. Nothing they don't do any experimental stuff like they did with with Ragnarok or Black Panther. It was an Avengers film through and through, but it was good. It was really, and I don't mean but as in a bad thing. I mean I'm just so overwhelmed with it.
Yeah, totally. Like even the way how it starts, it just throws you in, and then and it just pretty much like doesn't have to be like okay, we're about to recap. No, it just throws in, and it pretty much says, you know what already happened. You know what this,
Like, you know what you're here for.
You know what you're here for. You already know what happened. You're riding that wave. Now let's ride it and conclude this.
Which is kind of cool thinking about it, because it's like you could watch Thor Ragnarok straight into Infinity War and then straight into Endgame, and it's kind of like a 6 hour long movie.
Basically, yeah. Like, you don't. Yeah, now that I think about it, like, you like for pure continuity's sake, in reality, in order to really be invested in this film, you do have to watch some of the most important of the MCU films to get attached to these characters.
Well, yeah, I would say, honestly, I would say watch all of them.
At the same time, yeah,
because if you miss out on one, you miss character development, And when you think about it, it's like somewhere in some room, somebody was thinking, "Oh man, I'd love to make a movie with all these characters and have all these amazing moments, but I should probably introduce these characters and build them up."
Of course, yeah.
And watching Endgame, you're watching it and you're like, the payoff was incredible. It was such a great payoff.
Oh yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, it's like you know who these characters are. And like people who are a fan of these characters throughout the years, even way back in the '60s, you basically know these characters and you are a big fan of them. But and the way how the actors personify these characters in a unique way, it's like getting to know a new friend or something like that, and you learn their highs and their lows, and that's when the biggest build up, it becomes more impactful.
So you and I, we grew up with these films with 2008. I think I was 14. How old was I? Yeah, I was like 14.
I was in the 6th grade. How old do you have to be? Like 13, 12?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like 14. You must have been 12.
Yeah.
Ish. So, that's our lifespan. So from 12 and 14 to 25 and 23,
Yeah.
we have a certain experience growing up with these characters, and our reactions reflect that what we grew up in. I'm curious to, like, anybody that grew up with these comic books, like maybe from like the 70s, from the 80s, even like growing up with comic books from the 90s before the MCU was a thing. Like, I'm wondering what their reaction was growing up or living through this era of the Marvel films and then seeing their reaction for Endgame. I would love to hear like what their perspective on it was.
Oh yeah, like our mother, who is a Wonder Woman fan, like, yeah, she's not DC. I mean, she's not Marvel. I'm more aware of that. But when Wonder Woman came out, and I told my mom, our mom, about this, she already told me, like, oh yeah, like this was like months ahead after the movie came out. She was like, oh yeah, I saw it, and she really loved it. And I was always curious because she grew up with that character, and she was a really good role model for my mom, for our mother. I mean, it made me curious about this. I actually wanted to see how she reacted, to Wonder Woman, and it's the same. Like, it goes hand in hand with both universes, and yeah, it's, I'm using it as an example because of that. And then also because of the from the beginning, now that you mentioned it, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, it's just another Marvel movie, nothing new.
For
like,
Endgame?
No, for Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie.
Oh yeah,
because we were at an era, at a point where, some comic book movies were coming out, and
but none of them were connected.
Yeah, none of them. Like, they were. I have heard rumors that they were trying back in the past, but it never worked out, and it sucks. Like, it could have happened a lot earlier, but it is what it is
for legal reasons.
For legal reasons, I guess. But hey, it is what it is. It happened. You can't change it. But from that point, I was happy the way everything was at that time, and now I was like, and to this very day, I'm thinking to myself, I didn't ask for this, but I am so happy that it happened.
Yeah, like
I am so, like, it's a great time to be alive as a comic book fan.
Yeah, like walking out of Endgame, I'm like, I didn't know I needed that. Like, I didn't know I needed this film.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, like same thing with me. Like, Spider-Man was out. Before that, there was like a Daredevil movie. I think there was a Catwoman movie.
I don't want to talk about that. Don't mention that.
And then like the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
What else was there? Ghost Rider.
The Dark Knight.
Well, Dark Knight is DC, but yeah, same idea.
But yeah, I mean,
but talking about Marvel though, talking about the Marvel films, like the Marvel characters, when Iron Man was out, I didn't know about the legal separation where Sony got some, 21st Century got the other, and then Marvel got to keep a few. Not knowing that, I just thought, oh, it's just another Marvel movie. But then was how naive we were, what we were about to get.
I wasn't that invested in the Marvel universe as I am now. I didn't even know Avengers was like an entity of itself in the universe. I wasn't aware of that. I
Yeah,
knew
like
I knew these characters would join together every once in a while, but I didn't know it was an organization.
yeah, I was aware of like the team ups every now and then. I had no idea. Like at that age, I had no idea about what the Avengers were or anything.
This was some adventure. I like, especially back in 2015, after Age of Ultron. I was really excited to hear about Captain America: Civil War because that's like Marvel's most iconic story.
Yeah, it's like the best story before Infinity War.
Yeah, like
Or are
in
you
the
talking? Or do you mean in the comic books?
both? I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
both the film. Like we can talk about the film if you want, but the comic books.
I'm trying to steer this conversation back into Endgame, talking about Endgame, because right now we're just reminiscing.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'll just reminisce this part real quick. I mean, the comic book. When I heard about that, I was like, and they're making Captain America: Civil War. I was like, they had to put Spider-Man in it. They had to do that. And when I found out that Spider-Man was gonna be in the MCU, that to me was the very moment that, you know what, this is good. I'm good with this personally. If they add the Fantastic Four and the X-Men later on, then that's okay too. I'm all game because to me, Spider-Man. I just wanted Spider-Man to be teaming up with Iron Man and Captain America at some point.
Yeah. I think the moment that I got invested with like the moment I became like a comic book movie fan was kind of like the moment I saw the end credits for Iron Man, cuz like when we went to see it in theaters, we just left. We didn't stay for the end credits. And then when I heard about the end credits and we finally got it on DVD and saw it, I was like, the fuck is going on? And then as you learned about the build up after watching Avengers, I was like, fuck, I'm on board. But
Yeah.
but back to Endgame. What else to say about it? It was great. Yeah, like what you said earlier. It was great pacing. I mean, obviously every single movie there's no perfect movie. So
Of course,
obviously,
yeah.
like if you think about it too much,
Mm-hmm.
there's plot holes, and you think, oh, why didn't they do this? But go into Endgame expecting it as a Marvel film. It's a fun movie. Obviously, because after what you see in Infinity War, obviously there's a lot riding on this movie. So I mean, go in, have fun, and enjoy it for what it is. It's a Marvel film. It's not perfect, but it is a great payoff for what the build-up has been.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, there's no perfect film, and it's like a very very rare thing to happen. Like to consider Jaws a perfect film, and they consider some of the first Alien movie a perfect film. As an example, like that's very very hard, especially in writing, especially considering that they pretty much have a schedule set to make this film. So I can understand there was a lot of pressure going on, and I feel like some of these writers were high on caffeine thinking about this stuff. Like even Joss Whedon, who plays Thanos. Joss Whedon, sorry, not Joss Whedon. Josh Brolin, I apologize, who plays Thanos, mentioned that the way how they were prepping this whole thing down, they went to a secluded cabin in the woods, a pretty big cabin, and they had all the writers and some of the cast members who are going to be involved in the certain installations.
Yeah.
And they were all just having a barbecue, having a good time, and it's like
Just talking about what these two movies would be.
not just the two movies themselves, like all of the movies that they were planning on this from the beginning. And
Wait.
after Avengers, the first Avengers, then they started thinking, okay, we got some traction here. We got to think about this ahead of time. We kind of have something here, and they prepped. And Josh Brolin described it as kids just playing and pretending. You know, it was like kids role playing like with as their favorite heroes and stuff like that.
Just shooting ideas and getting it as perfect as possible.
Yeah. I want to bring up the Russo brothers, who also directed the Winter Soldier, the Civil War film, as well as Infinity War. They improved on certain aspects. They
For Endgame?
not just in Endgame they slowly progressed. The first like the last two Captain America movies, they kind of had like some choppy editing in terms of combat, but then Infinity War and Endgame, it was still kind of choppy and still kind of shaky, but it was a lot clearer of what you can see, and you can actually savor the moments when they start the fights.
Yeah, some of the fight scenes were very satisfying to watch. It wasn't like
It looked very real.
I wasn't jarred or disoriented like in Winter Soldier. Like people have complained about how many cuts there are, and I've seen like behind the scenes footage of like that street scene where Captain is fighting Bucky. And like I've seen behind the scenes as they're choreographing, and it looks great when there's not that many cuts.
Yeah,
And having cut after every punch is annoying, and I feel like Endgame did a good job of avoiding those kinds of fight scenes.
Yeah,
or action scenes in general.
Of course. And their shots like this is the thing I also noticed, they really do a good job on putting insert shots at certain moments when, like, they put insert shots not making you feel like an idiot. Like, it makes it obvious but also vague at the same time, where it doesn't make you feel like, yeah, you see this right here, you see this, okay, so we're clear, right? You see that. Okay, now let's move on. And
yeah, like watching it, there's no like weird shots. You're like, why did they put that in there? And it's like it's like, how should I say it? It guides you,
yeah,
but it's not handholdy. It's like, here is Endgame, enjoy it, and it's not telling you like, look at this is important. Okay, look over here, look over here. It's a good flow.
Yeah. Something I did notice from this film is that it had a certain shot. I forgot what it's called. I forgot the term, but the director who in Pixar, the director who has directed Ratatouille and The Incredibles, is the same guy. He also directed Iron Giant, and he does this all the time, where he does 1, 2, 3 shots, where it's the same exact camera, and he points it at one thing, and he points at another thing, and he points at another, and it could be back and forth. It could be one place to another, and they kind of did that a few times in Endgame, which I really like, because it doesn't cut the flow, and it also makes you feel like you're there. You know, like it makes you. It doesn't cut it and kill the moment of that certain shots.
You're gonna have to explain that to me in the other episode, because I really
I'm gonna explain it more.
I really want to ask you what scene you're talking about, but this is a spoiler-free one, so
yeah.
So we're almost out of time for this spoiler-free one. We're gonna do the spoiler one next, but closing thoughts before finishing this episode.
Go see Endgame, enjoy it. If you are a Marvel fan, you will be satisfied by a long shot.
And if you're a Marvel fan that you've only seen like maybe one Iron Man movie, maybe one of the Thor movies, one of the you haven't seen them all, but you've seen like key ones, like Guardians 1, stuff like that. I definitely suggest watching all of them, because Endgame, how can I not spoil this? Just go watch them all. It'll be worth it for Endgame, trust me.
Yeah, like feel free to. The movie's gonna be out for a good while, and considering how much money it's making in the box office, I'm pretty sure it's gonna stay there for a good while. And then there's also the $1 theaters. So take your time, no hurry.
Well, I mean, by the time they're waiting for the $1 theaters, it's like really hard to avoid spoilers by then. But definitely try to see, if you can't watch the full movies on time, at least try to get a rundown on what the other movies that you missed are.
Yeah, there's some summaries on YouTube.
And get like key points on it. Yeah. There's got to be like things you need to know before Endgame videos out by now. Definitely watch those, and so you're caught up, because if anybody watching Endgame and they haven't seen either Infinity War or literally any of the other Marvel films, it's gonna be a very confusing movie going into Endgame, not knowing anything.
Oh yeah, especially the way how the plot progressed.
Yeah.
So you're not. It's like if you've never seen them, you're not gonna get a single thing at all.
So, thank you, MCU, for doing what you did.
Thank you, Chris Evans. Thank you, Robert Downey Jr.
Thank you.
Thank you to
Lord and Savior Kevin Feige.
Thank you, and let's not also forget. Let's also thank Stan Lee.
Fuck Yeah.
Stanley, wherever you are, may you rest in peace. Thank you so much for everything.
I'm gonna cry, man.
For making us happy and giving us our imagination.
I'm gonna cry. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about spoilers in the next episode.
This has been the Coffee Spill.
Why do you end with that?
Okay, fuck off.